Hey everybody, I just wanted to take some time today and talk through some of the recent changes we've made to our pixel mapping system. So if you followed this project at all, you'll probably notice that the UI looks quite a bit different. We've added quite a few new things in the past month, and part of that was because we've got people actually using this aside from us now, which meant we needed to make things a little bit more user-friendly and add some tools to kind of make up for some of the things that we just handle internally. So that's been a really good thing. It's made this a much stronger piece of software. And anyway, yeah, we'll just go through some of the things that have changed. And so if you're not familiar with this project, this is a procedural pixel mapping engine. So basically its purpose is to take input from a lighting console and basically like expose a set of fixtures that can be controlled from the lighting console. So the lighting console just thinks it's controlling lights, lights with like 20 different parameters on them. And the pixel mapping system then takes that information and feeds it through its effect engine and lets you like create effects that take that data in and then generate pixel data to send out. And the reason that this is necessary is as you start adding like more than just like a handful of pixels to your lighting rig, it quickly gets to the point where it's just not really that feasible to control it from a standard lighting console. And this is for a couple of reasons. Number one, your channel count goes way up like really fast. And even if you actually can control as many universes as is required for something like this, which is kind of rare on a lighting console, it's not generally meaningful control. So sure, you could turn them on, you can turn them off, you can change color, you could run some basic effects across it, but it's not going to be to the point where you can really design much with it. It's very limited, where a system like this lets you be a lot more creative in how you're designing things. So if you want more information on that, I've got a couple of other videos that have been posted about this system and how it works. Go check them out. I'm not going to go into deep detail on that right now. But what we will go through is how things have changed recently. So you'll notice straight away that we have, UI very much different than it was before. So we've got a panel here for selecting fixtures. These are all of the different fixtures that we have control of in the system. So these, I guess if you're looking for a way to think about these, for like each one of the panels we have set up here, so this panel, here, so on and so forth, they are all associated with a single fixture. And I could actually take the entire rig and associate it with a single fixture, but that would mean I would only have from the lighting console one set of attributes to change things with. So if I faded it down, the entire rig would fade down. Where with this, if I fade one of these down, a panel fades down. Or if I want to set up an effect for one of them, it's affecting what I have selected. So I hope that makes sense. Let's look and see some of the other stuff that's new in here. So now we have the ability to control the parameters of the effects directly from the UI. Previously, you had to do it exclusively from DMX control, so from your lighting console. This is really useful for setting up new systems and troubleshooting things, and it just kind of lets you play around with things a lot easier. So I can grab the scale on this and adjust parameters here. I can adjust color. I can adjust the different effects that are different modifiers that I've got on here to control how the effect is functioning. So that's all cool. Additionally, I can recall presets. So we can go ahead and bring up different presets for how things should function. And it lets us basically recall a set of values and put them back on the rig. Next thing that you'll notice that we changed is, so this panel here previously looked like this. So we had a list of like all of our different effects that we could use and the node graphs that represented them. So this is the data processing system. When we take like these values in, see we've got all of these values, the fader values right here. They're going into the system, and then we're just kind of like mathematically determining what to do with them. That's all cool, but not particularly helpful when you're actually running a show. So we added this effect details panel, and what this does is it gives us a synopsis of what's happening on the rig right now. So looking at this, we can see we're running the pinwheel effect. We've got 44 fixtures that are running it, and then we can see these are all of the different attributes, and then underneath that we actually have a label for what that means for this particular effect, because with these 20 different parameters, they can be mapped to different things depending on the effect. There's nothing saying that any one of them has to do anything specific, and for most effects, like not all of them are used, so it can be a little bit difficult to figure out across all of these effects what do all of the different parameters do. This should help a lot with that. So we can see like scale X is width, scale Y is height, scale Z is depth. If we look at the modifiers, modifier A is controlling how many spokes there are on the pinwheel. B is controlling fall off, so the intensity fall off, and C is the direction that this is rotating. So that in itself is very helpful. Another thing that we can do with this is, like, if I select just a subset of this and change a value on it, we'll see that it breaks those fixtures that have a different value out into a different row here. So we can see, all right, we've got two groups of fixtures that are doing the same thing. One has 36 fixtures in it, one has 8. And we can look and see, oh, okay, that's because width is different between these two. That's why it broke those out, which is helpful to be able to see. If we were running a different effect on this, so let's just go ahead and change the effect. Now we see, all right, we're running rectangular mask, and there's a lot less attributes that this one uses, but we've got 8 fixtures now on this, and tells us exactly what they're doing, exactly what the parameters mean. Very helpful. So there's a couple of additional things you can do with this. You can filter it so that right now it's filtered, so if a set of fixtures is off, that goes away. It's not showing it all the time, only what's visible. We can change hide and active, and we can see, okay, we actually have some other stuff that's going on here in the background. The intensity is just turned off and we can't see it. We can also filter this so that if we only want to see one layer on a particular fixture, we can do that, and we can also toggle between the percentage and the actual DMX value for that layer. Okay, so that's most of the new stuff in the UI. The other big thing that we did is we swapped out the video playback engine in this. And so, like previously, you could play back video, but the system was really cumbersome and did not work well, and we've just never been happy with it. So we added in a completely new system, and I forgot to add in a preset for this, but we'll go ahead and set it up real quick here. So we need to set the scaling to be right there, and we're going to set these modifier values, and okay, and then we want to go to graph 10. All right, we can see this is the video graph, and all of these values look correct. And like I said, this should be saved as a preset so that we can just click it once and go with it. But yeah, now you see how to set that up. So let's go to the video playback side of this. So we have the ability to play back video sequences. So let me roll this, and hey, cool, we've got a thunderstorm playing across our system. And I can adjust certain things about this. So I can adjust the X scaling and Y scaling, and this can actually be done per fixture. So I could take this video and duplicate it onto every panel and stretch it so that it fits. Additionally, I can control things like, so if we look on here, we can see modifier A is hue, modifier B is saturation, C is luminosity, and D is contrast. So if I adjust modifier A, see, all right, I'm shifting the hue of the video, which is helpful. Adjust saturation, so now it's more saturated, and luminosity, so that we get more brightness. We can also adjust contrast, so that the dark areas of the video go darker and the bright areas go brighter. So that's all cool. That's helpful. I'm going to set these back to their default values here, and let's look at some of the other stuff we can do. So I'm going to go ahead and pause that. So one of the use cases that we see with this is working with live video, and there's a couple of different useful things you can do with this. One of them would be, yeah, I mean, you can feed camera shots and things like that into your system. That's cool. I don't know how useful that is in most circumstances, but I think there's a time and a place for that. One thing that I can see, particularly in the church world, a lot of people doing is wanting to control this without having to use a lighting console to do it, and basically using systems that they have in place. And one of the things that makes this really easy is we added support for NDI and SDI input. And so what we can do is we can actually just take video from a video server, or from in most churches setup, ProPresenter, and map it across here. So you can use ProPresenter as a media playback engine that is just passed through the pixel mapping system to output to your pixel rig. And I'll demonstrate this real quick here. So let me go ahead and just link this with our with an NDI source. So I've got my laptop sitting right here with ProPresenter pulled up, and I'm just going to pull up a video in ProPresenter. And there we go. So this is being fed from ProPresenter into the pixel mapping system, and then mapped across the pixel rig and output. And I have those same controls for luminosity and hue here that I would have from on the normal video playback system, but this is being provided as live video, which is kind of fun. It lets me set this up in a way where, okay, we're going through a song, we've got this effect, and then we're moving on to the next song, and we want to move to the next one. All right, we just transitioned video in ProPresenter, and away we go. So it just is like a pass-through system that is used for taking video in and mapping it across the rig, which is really interesting. I can see people using that quite a bit. The way that we like to drive this from the lighting console is, I think, the most flexible and useful way of going about this. However, a lot of people aren't in the position to be doing that. Like, they're not set up to do it that way, and it can be kind of daunting. Like, it's not necessarily the easiest way to set it up, but I think it is the most flexible. This, on the other hand, is super easy. Like, once you've got it configured, it just sits there and takes video in and passes it out to the rig, and it's using tools that you already are used to. So whatever media playback system you're used to using, you just output it and pass it into here. And like with what we're doing right here, I'm not even using so ProPresenter has an NDI module for it to output NDI directly. I'm not even using that. There's a free NDI scan converter that just takes your desktop output and passes it over the network for, yeah, doing things like this. So for no cost, I am able to take video out of ProPresenter and bring it into this. No additional wiring, cabling, whatever. It's just there, and that's pretty cool. So anyway, there's a few other things that we've changed in here, mostly just settings and different configuration things that you can do. I'm not going to go into it today, but yeah, I think this pretty much covers all of the major things that I was wanting to touch on here. If you got any questions, absolutely send them my way. I'm happy to answer it. If this is something that seems like would be useful in your facility, if you want to start using this, contact me, and we'll figure out what it would take to do that. At this point in time, which is November 6th, 2018, this has not been officially released, but we've got people who are using it, who've requested it, and we're happy to do that. There's still some things that we're working on finishing up. It's kind of a beta testing period, I would say, right now, but it's solid. We've been using this for the last year now, and it works really well. It does what it's supposed to do and has really revolutionized how we work with our Pixel systems. So anyway, hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, post comments. Happy to help you.